I'm going to introduce Craig Ballantyne. Now, Craig has a bio. I'm not going to read from his bio. I mean, the guy does a number of incredible feats. He's released multiple best-selling books. He's got a phenomenal podcast. I think he owns 10 businesses now. He's coached over 200 entrepreneurs to 7 figures and beyond. So truly exceptional track record. But Craig is my coach. He is the guy that I am accountable to every single week. I email Craig and he gives me really incredible, pertinent advice. 3 years ago, I uncovered Craig on the Empire podcast. I thought this is a profound individual. This guy is wise. This guy gets it. And he really is congruent with a lot of what I teach as well. Super aligned. So much so that I flew over to Santa Monica 2 years ago to learn from Craig, to really get as much knowledge as I can and skills and frameworks. And for the last 2 years, he's been coaching me. So it's my great pleasure again to welcome Craig Ballantyne, my friend, my coach, my mentor, to our virtual immersion. Welcome, my man.
Thank you. This is going to be a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah, we are chomping at the bit. You just saw TP. He opened up for us. And the guys are super keen to learn from you, the world's most disciplined man. And you're going to be going through the perfect life formula, something I did with you, which was certainly insightful, inspiring, and profound. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Well, very good. Well, then let's get on with it, everyone. So, hey, thank you for being here. This is going to be a lot of fun. I have found that doing these virtual masterminds is really, really phenomenal way to augment your training, and I'm pretty good at them. So if you guys fire questions away in the chat, I'll be able to keep up with them and give my presentation. So I am going to share my screen right now and then get into the, where did I put that document? Oh, there it is. All right, can you guys see that? Can you just say in the chat down below that you can see that? Give me can you see it, Dan?
Yeah, I can see that. How to make time to make millions.
Perfect. That's what we're gonna do. Also, before we get started, I always love saying, let me know where you're calling in on the call-in show with Craig, all right? So just drop it in the chat below. Let me know what city you are in. If you're outside of Australia, that'd be cool to know too. Just love to know where everybody's chatting in. I am in Vancouver, so we got Adelaide, Melbourne. Wow, that's awesome. Gary's in Melbourne, Adelaide, Tasmania for Sam, Summit in Sydney, Belinda in Brisbane, Gold Coast, awesome. Kurt's out in Perth. That's like the end of the earth. Oh man, that's like a journey that someday I hope to make. Snowy Mountains, Townsville. You're the second person I know in Townsville, Paul. I had a coaching client in the construction world, Daryl Gribble, who lives up in Townsville. I was actually going to ask if anybody was from Townsville. That's really cool to know. Okay, all right, enough of the crazy Canadians talk. I'm going to jump into what I want to help you with right now, which is to make time to make millions, to make time for what Thomas talked about, to make time for what Dan talks about and teaches you week by week, month by month, because oftentimes it's not a matter of, do I need more knowledge? Oftentimes it's a matter of, holy cow, I need more time. I need more time for this campaign, that campaign, improving systems, follow-up. Oh my goodness, I need more time because maybe I'm still doing some of the training. Maybe my trainers are not comfortable coming back. So as Dan mentioned before, in terms of the multiple business ownership, I do still own 3 gyms. If you've never heard of me, what I did for about 15 years was I sold a program called Turbulence Training, which was an online program. If you ever had that program, drop a little TT down below. That'd be cool to see. But I ended up getting out of the online fitness stuff. So Tracy and Gary both have it. Daz has it. That's cool. It's so neat. I have one video on YouTube that's been watched 6.5 million times. So it's crazy to think that. But in about 2015, I got out of that and I got out of everything in the fitness space except for 3 Fit Body boot camps that I own. So I own 3 Fit Body boot camps. And this might surprise you, but I've never actually been to any of them. Okay, so I've never actually stepped foot in the gyms that I own. I own 2 in South Carolina. There's a beautiful little city called Charleston, South Carolina, and I own one near Toronto, which is where I'm from. So I have partners in those gyms and we talk on a regular basis. So I'm still very heavily connected in the fitness industry. And obviously I spent a lot of time with this guy, Bedros Keuilian, who has 800 Fit Body Bootcamp franchises and 500 franchisees, of which I'm one. So I'm talking to gym owners all the time. And I do have quite a few gym owners over in America and Canada that I train. And I know so many of them, their trainers are afraid to come back into the studio. I do have one or two in Australia. I have an F45 client just outside of Sydney. She's fortunately had her trainers are coming back, but a lot of trainers are scared to come back. And so what are you going to do? You've got to go and do any of the sessions that you're able to do. Maybe you're training some virtual sessions online. So where the heck do you find time? And the answer is you do not find time for anything. You will never find time. It's not like it's under the bed with the old ab rocker that you bought off an infomercial. No, collecting dust. Time is not to be found, it is to be made. That's why if we go back to the title page of this presentation, it is make time. If you simply make that change in your mindset that you never again will try and find time for stuff, but instead you will make time like you have made time for today. Like Thomas, who at 8 o'clock on a Friday night in Florida, even though he's in lockdown, made time to do that presentation. Now it's 5 o'clock here in Vancouver, much more reasonable time, but I've made time to be with you guys who are in the future. It's great. It's always great to talk to people in Australia because you know that tomorrow has come. So you're like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about anything. I can go to bed in peace knowing that tomorrow has already shown up for half of the world. So I don't have to worry. It's like in 1999, you were like looking like, will 2000 come? And all you had to do was look for Australia and it did show up. So we make time for what matters. Now I'm going to take you through a couple of exercises. If you're taking notes, I didn't give these printouts in advance to Dan. I can give them to you after, it's no problem. But what I recommend that you do, just like we have our coaching clients, our nutrition coaching clients in the gym, we often give them a food journal. And why do we give them a food journal? It is because research shows that if clients do a food journal, they, on average, will lose up to 30% more weight. And this is from a study. I don't know the exact citation, but I remember when I was writing for Men's Health magazine for the many years that I did, I saw that in one of the magazines. Like according to research from this university, I forget what university it was, clients or people, men or people, whichever the study had as their subjects, people use a food journal lost 30% more weight. Now, what does this have to do with a time journal? Well, I realized that if that works for your food, and what it works for is you now notice why you're eating, you now have an accurate record of what you're eating. You know, most clients will say, yeah, I probably did like 2,000 calories, and they're like at 3,200. When they do the food journal, it really, really identifies problems. And the time journal is very similar. And what I want you to do is, you know, when you go back to work next week, if it's a typical work week and you do this for like Tuesday and Wednesday, you will have huge insights, 3 massive insights that you're going to have from this time journal. And all you do in this time journal, it is a little tedious, I admit, it's a little tedious, but when you do it for 1 or 2 days, a food journal is tedious too. You will find your magic time. You will find your OCD loops, which are robbing you of time, and you will find your hourly worth. And that's going to be like a cold bucket of water to the face, which then inspires you to make some changes that I'll share with you in a second. So how does this work? You print this out, or you just take a journal and you write down whatever time you get up. You then start writing down what you're doing and how you are feeling or why you are doing it every 20 minutes over the course of the day. So let's say you do get up at 5 o'clock and you're a 5 a.m. clubber, as they say, which is like the worst club to ever go to. And it's the most boring as far as I know. But you get up at 5 a.m. and then you go, okay, woke up, did the bathroom stuff, 5:20, you know, started doing meditation, journaling, that sort of stuff. 5:40, got the coffee going. 6 o'clock, took the dog out. 6:20, got sucked into social media. 6:40, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what you find over the course of the day are those 3 things. And we'll start with the OCD loops first. So the OCD loops, and again, if I'm going too fast, you want me to try and talk American so you can't hear my Canadian accent, let me know if you can't understand something, but just drop it in the chat. I can keep up with you guys pretty quickly. So you go through and you identify the OCD loop, which is the time of day where you get sucked into this vortex of time wasting. And I recognized this for myself back in about 2006 when I was hiring my first coach and I was having anxiety attacks, hiring my first coach and growing my business faster than ever before. And I realized that at about 11 o'clock in the morning, when I was kind of doing a quasi time journal, I realized that at that time of day, maybe it was a little bit later because it was Facebook was involved and I got on Facebook in 2007. So let's say it was 2007. I would go to this website where I saw my sales stats for my online sales. So it was called ClickBank. I would go to ClickBank and I check my sales. And then I would go to my email and I check my email. And then from there, I would go to Facebook and I would check to see if anybody had poked me, because that was back in the day when, like, you know, if you poke somebody on Facebook, it wasn't like, wow, you're weird. It was like, they poked me. So it was then to Facebook, and then it was to this website in North America called ESPN.com, which is a sports website. And then after I had done that loop, I would go through the loop again. And after about 40 minutes, I'm like, I got to get out of this loop. And today you might have Instagram, Facebook, who knows, you might have TikTok, you might have your email, you might have Slack, you might have Trello. I mean, oh my gosh, where do I stop? You I got to go see what's going on in DoorDash. Maybe I should DoorDash something right now, or Uber Eats something. It's been 43 minutes since I Uber Eated something to myself. So I probably need to Uber Eats myself something to myself. And we get in all these loops. It's worse than ever before. And it's actually not your fault, because every single day when you open up your phone, it's you versus thousands of PhDs from MIT whose sole purpose in life is to make you addicted to this thing. Okay, so it's a PhD who knows how, if we put red circles at the top of Instagram, if we put red circles at the top of this thing, people will want to click on red circles. And if the one story leads into the other, they'll never escape the stories and they'll spend more time on the app. How can we get them to spend more time on the app? That is where so many of the world's smartest minds are focusing their energy. How can we make people look at a phone more? It is actually kind of shameful when you think of all the problems that are out there that need to be solved, and some of the smartest minds are fighting against you and robbing you of your time. So how do you win that? Well, the answer is, if you take a look at my phone, these are all the apps on my phone, which are too many in my opinion. I have ClassPass on there, but I don't use it. I have WhatsApp on there, but only 2 people know it. I have a bike rental thing. I have Dropbox, which I don't use. I really only use Instagram on my phone and Uber in terms of the apps. But what I've done is I don't allow notifications. I've deleted as many apps as I haven't deleted as many apps as I could, but that's all. I've seen people where it's like 4 pages worth of apps, right? And there's nothing but red notifications. I've changed the game so that they can't suck my time. So you need to go through, remove all notifications. You need to go through, remove as many apps as possible, cut down ruthless, be ruthless. You'll also save yourself money in subscriptions, and that stuff adds up. You probably have well over $200 in personal subscriptions that you are paying for every month. And you probably only need about $20 or $30. So you can save yourself a ton of cash already, which can be deployed for many other things. But also it gets you out of that OCD loop. What you'll also find is that you're getting into the OCD loop for the same reason that our clients are getting into mindless eating. Because mindless scrolling around on here is the same as mindless eating. It just comes out of this thing. And write this acronym down. It'll be, if you've never heard it before, it will really help you, but it'll really help your clients as well. And it's called HALT, HALT. And Bedros shared this one with me because he got it from his therapist. And his therapist said, Bedros, anytime that you find yourself, going to the cupboard and just eating, because Bedros does have a problem, he loves to eat. And he just would, some nights would consume 2,000 calories in stress eating. You just go bagel, cream cheese, peanut butter, all this stuff. And he said, Bedros, it's because my dog is drinking loudly behind me. I apologize. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Okay. If you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, you will act out. And acting out may mean that you overeat in the kitchen mindlessly, even though you just had dinner an hour before. Acting out may mean that you get angry at people. Acting out may mean, for a lot of younger gentlemen that contact me that are entrepreneurs, they look at too much pornography. They're acting out because they're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. You may be on social media, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, or whatever it is. You're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, and you need to halt the halt, right? So you'll find that when you get into your OCD loops, it's because of that. You'll find that when clients are mindlessly eating, it's because of halt. So now this is where the scientific method comes into place, where there is a one variable change that results in a behavior. So X causes Y, and the introspective person makes those associations. The non-introspective person goes through life wondering, well, I went to Burger King at lunch today, and I can't understand why I'm tired every day at 2 o'clock. I always go to Burger King, and I'm always tired at 2 o'clock. I have no idea why. And they spend 40 years frustrated because they can't connect X and Y. Now, you, because of this time journal, will connect, I do X at this time because of Y. I go on social media and screw around at 12 o'clock because I've been working since 6 or 7 in the morning and I need a break. And the easiest break for me is to go on social. Well, an easier or better break would for you to go outside, walk around, get some vitamin D, get some sunshine, come back in and get back to work. So you identify that and you break that loop. Now, the second thing, we'll switch to something positive that you will find from this, is that when you do this, you will find the time of day when you get into the flow. And I call this magic time. The time of day that you're 3 times more productive, creative, and energetic than at any other time of day. If you have to write a sales letter or an email or a PowerPoint presentation or a YouTube script or whatever it is, man, there's just something about those hours between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. or 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. or 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the night owls in the audience. Man, I just get into the flow in that time. But here's the thing, is you're letting other people come in and steal that flow time. So for example, let's say you absolutely love that 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. But you also schedule sales calls, you schedule staff meetings, you keep your door open so people can just walk in at the gym and bother you, and you're letting people steal that. Well, here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to identify your magic time. And I promise you, you will get 3 times as much work done in that magic time, in that flow time. Because I know this, because as a writer who writes books, I must protect my flow time, which is, for me, it's early in the morning. If I got up at 6, it would be at 6:30. I get up earlier than that, so it's about half an hour within I get up for 90 minutes. I can write 1,500 to 2,000 words in that 90 minutes, whereas at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to take me 3 hours to write that. So you really will triple your productivity when you find it. But the secret here, the 2 secrets are, 1, you must ruthlessly protect it. Ruthlessly protect it, like my dog protects the dog bowl when there's food in it, right? Like nobody's going near that thing. And so you must say, okay, I am blacking out these 90 minutes or 2 hours. And I don't care if somebody wants to have a sales call at that time. I am unavailable, because by me focusing on this time, I will get so much more done that I will actually get home on time for dinner with my family. I will open up more time in the afternoon for sales calls, or I will be able to be focused and present if I have a staff meeting later on in the day, instead of doing a staff meeting in my magic time and itching and going, oh, I really wish I was writing right now, because I know that feeling. And I made that mistake for a long time. So when you've done those 2 things, eliminate the bad, and you have focused on the good. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say about your magic time is you must match your most difficult task to that magic time, right? Like your magic time is not where you're just going to sit and go la-di-da and write some emails. No, your magic time, and I mean like email responses. I mean, you might write email copy to your email list that then sells one of your best programs that makes you a lot of money. But it's probably going to be something harder. Like, I got to go and create a course for our members. And oh my goodness, I got to be really focused for this. Well, you're not going to try and find time. You're going to make time for that. And you are going to be the most focused in that magic time, and you match your hardest task for it. And simply doing that, a little bit of cause and effect. Okay, I know that I'm most focused at this time, therefore I put my hardest task in there. Man, triple your productivity. So that's big. Now, the third thing you will find from the time journal is that when you go through it, you will know now how many hours you work per day in general. Okay, so you'll be able to figure out, okay, wow, I'm either working more than I thought, or I'm working less than I thought, right? Like maybe you're like, man, I work like 10 hours a day right now. But you go through this time journal and you go, wow, the time actually spent working is 7.5 hours. I am frittering away 2.5 hours of my day. Oh my goodness, I need to do something here. And so that's one thing that you might learn that might be cold bucket of water to your face. But the other thing is that let's say that you realize you're working about 9 hours a day. And so you work 9 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's 45 hours, and you work 5 hours on the weekend. So now you're working 50 hours a week. Okay, 50 hours a week. Let's say you work 50 weeks in a year, that's 2,500 hours. And if you make $100,000, what's the math on this? What's your hourly rate? What is your hour worth if you work 2,500 hours in a year and you make $100,000? It's $40 an hour. And here you are, yeah, I'm a six-figure earner. And you're like, oh my God, I make $40 an hour. My trainers make $55 an hour. I could train people 30 hours a week, wash my hands of it, go home, not have to think of anything again, not have to do the administration, the billing, the staff meetings, and I would come out ahead. This is a tough pill to swallow when you realize what your hourly worth is. It might be a tough pill to swallow. And then that should make you realize, I got to correct myself. I got to correct my behaviors, my patterns, the actions that I'm taking. Why am I working so much and only making $40 an hour? Oh, it's because I'm going to the FedEx store. I'm spending 3 hours going to the FedEx store when I could get somebody to do that for $12 an hour. I'm doing bookkeeping when you can go to Upwork.com and find somebody to do bookkeeping for you for $12 to $15. And yes, they're in a foreign country, but they are just as good as a bookkeeper that would charge you $30 to $35 an hour in Australia. I guarantee it. Why are you, doing some spreadsheets, or why are you editing your own videos, or why are you doing something where you can find somebody, even in America, to do it for less than $10 an hour? And I know this because my girlfriend Michelle has a business online, and she looked for a virtual assistant on Upwork the other day and found a college student in America willing to work for $8 an hour. This is not Michelle like negotiating them down to $8 an hour. This is a reliable, dependable, organized 20-year-old female in America willing to work for $8 an hour on the website Upwork. So I'll just type them in the chat. There are 3 websites that we go to. We go to Upwork.com, we go to freeup.net, and we go to Fiverr.com, Fiverr Premium, to find people to do tasks, whether it's graphic arts work for all our manuals. And like this thing that you're looking at right now in my PowerPoint presentation, or not my PowerPoint, but my PDF that you're looking here in the Zoom training, it's put together in nice artistic format by a web designer that we found, or a graphic artist that we found on Upwork. And I have everything from my PowerPoints made to, I've gone, and we have some Filipino virtual assistants, and I've had them search every gym in America to find like a contact number. And you can find people to do this for a few bucks an hour all over the world. So here's the thing that I recommend. And I'm actually, if you can, I'm going to show you something here. This is a whiteboard. This is my daily schedule for next week, just to share with Michelle so she knows what I'm doing. But if I were you, ignore the fact that there is writing in here. What I would do if I were you, and you are working on the little stuff too much, is get a whiteboard like this, okay? It's small, you can tote it around. Sit it beside your desk as you work and put A, D, and E in the columns. And as you work and fill out that time journal, and that alarm goes off every 20 minutes, look at what you're doing and ask, can I automate it? Can I delegate it? Or can I eliminate it? Meaning, if I stop doing it, no one else needs to do it because it doesn't actually improve our business. And if you put activities in your day into those three columns, automate, delegate, eliminate, you will quickly rid yourself of the $8 an hour tasks. And then by not doing those, you will then have more time for the $100, $150, $200, $500 an hour tasks, like writing copy, creating sales messages, putting together an amazing promotion for your next 6-week challenge. And you will find your income per hour shoots through the roof. In 3 months, 6 months, when you redo this exercise, you're finding that you're making, wow, I'm now making $120 for every hour because I'm only working 30 hours per week because I've cut down. I have more time for my family and my income has gone through the roof. That's what Dan and I want for you when you do these types of mental thought exercises that we've really stolen from our fat loss clients. And we teach our clients to do these types of things all the time, to get organized, to never miss a training session, to record their meals so that they have a real accurate idea of what they're doing. And we need to do the same for ourselves. So now what I want to do is I want to move into, the time journal has given us so much. Now what I want to do is I want to move into what was the foundation of my latest book, the Perfect Week Formula. So I think I need to rotate this thing here. Just make sure that I get this for you. See if this works here. There we go. All right. So now you guys see the Perfect Week Formula. And the Perfect Week Formula, this is from my book of the same name. And even though I'm going to skip ahead, because what I would like you to do is maybe you have a scrap piece of paper in front of you. We can also get, again, these handouts to Dan so that you guys can do this on a regular basis. And we're going to teach you how to plan out your week. Okay, planning out your week for maximum success. I want to keep things as simple as possible. So I made what was called a 7x7 grid. 7 days, obvious, and then 7 blocks of 2 to 3 hours when you're up. Okay, some of them will be 2 hours, some of them will be 3 hours. You're not going to be up for 21 hours a day. But the first block would be from the time you get up, and Monday you get up at 5 a.m. What's going to be your most important priority that you put in that time? So I'm going to show you how to fill out this sheet. And again, if you have a scrap piece of paper right now, you can just draw this out quickly. I'm going to show you how to plan your week out maximally. So you then have a template, a general template that will allow you to fill in specifics every week so that you know what you should be doing. Because I will tell you what, like I showed you these are 3 days next week, Monday through Wednesday. I have all of my days planned out until August 28th. Like I know what I'm doing every single hour for my work days until August 28th, because I have a very simple template. I get up, I do my writing, then I have a break, take the dog out, we go to the park, we have family time there, come back in, I know what I'm doing from 9 until noon, and then I know what I'm doing from 2 until 5. 2 till 5, it's always coaching calls for presentations like this. I made a little exception for Dan, went a little bit later tonight, that's okay. But all the afternoon is podcast coaching calls, training videos like this. The morning is all more the cerebral thinking, planning, sales copy, all that sort of stuff. And then Monday is all meetings with team members. And that's my general template that I can fit specifics in pretty much for the rest of my life. And I want to teach you how to do something similar. And I totally understand when you're a gym owner and you're covering training shifts and all that stuff, sometimes it might be difficult, but you want to move towards being an empire builder, especially if you want to own multiple gyms. You want to have a basic template that you can fit in other people into your schedule. Okay. So look at the one line at the bottom of this page. Build your business around your life, not your life around your business. If you get nothing else out of my presentation, please write this down and remember it. Build your life around, build your business around your life and not your life around your business. So for me, I have non-negotiables in my life. Thursday night, date night, 8 o'clock dog park, 11 a.m. workout. These things are non-negotiable. I do not allow people to book calls in those times. I do not take phone calls. I do not run meetings. I do not do anything but those things. They go on the calendar first. So me, I go on the calendar first. How I want to live my life goes on my calendar first, because back when I had my anxiety attacks when I was about 30 years old, and I went to the emergency room twice with anxiety attacks, I was just overwhelmed because I didn't have boundaries in my life. I didn't have cutoff times for the end of my workday. And if I was like, well, I don't have anything to do tonight, I'll just work until 10 or 11 o'clock at night as a single guy. Or if, I was living in Toronto at the time, well, I'll just go out tonight and I'll come home at whatever time, because I can start work at whatever time I want to start the next day. And that just does not work. That's too much freedom. That's the paradox of freedom that I talk about in my first book, Perfect Day Formula. Structure equals freedom. The structure of this week will give you more freedom in your life. You might want to resist that, but trust me, more structure in your life equals more freedom in your life. So the very first thing that you would put on this blank page here is your date night, your family time, your dinner with grandma, your workouts, your own workouts. I know, as a trainer, former personal trainer, gym owner, online fitness coach, I started to dislike working out. I'm always in the gym. I don't want to work out now. And the only time I get to work out is right when I'm tired, or I have like a little break after lunch because I'm starving. I can't work out now. I got to get something to eat. And then I don't want to work out after I eat. I don't even want to work out at all. I quit this game. So here I am. I took my hobby, turned it into a business, and now I hate my hobby. No, not anymore. Not anymore. Because when you put your workouts first, you pick the time where you want to work out. But don't work out first thing in the morning, as I'm going to tell you in a second. So if you look at this and you put on family dinner, you put on maybe some device-free time on Sunday afternoons where you don't use any electronics, you have family time all day Saturday, maybe you want to go for a massage on Thursday afternoon. You put your workouts on there. All of that stuff goes on. Maybe you want to do family movie night. Great, you do that too. That goes on before any work-related stuff goes onto your calendar. It's flipping it. It's flipping how the 99% of entrepreneurs plan their weeks. They plan their weeks like this. They go, well, I'm going to try and find time to do date night. I'm going to try and find time for my kids. I'm going to try and find time to actually take care of myself. And you don't find time. You either make it or you lose it, but you don't find it. And I don't want anybody listening to this to end up in the same situation that I ended up in, going to the emergency room thinking you're having a heart attack when you're in the healthiest, fittest condition of your life. I mean, I had six-pack abs. I was fitness model condition checking into the emergency room. In fact, the one time that I went, I asked one of my clients, he was 5'3", 310 pounds, an obese, overworked, stressed out lawyer. And I looked at him and I said, will you take me to the emergency room? That was probably the lowest point of my life. I had to fix things. And that's why I built this up. So we put our life on first. Now, before you start putting meetings and work in there, there's a couple of lines I want us to look at. The two at the bottom, reverse alarm and bedtime, and the wake up time across the top. One of the things I found when I was about 32 years old, I had been given this advice for 7 years in a row. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And the advice was simple. Go to bed at the same time every day of the week. Get up at the same time every day of the week. And when you do that, you will have more all day energy from any decision you make in your life. Now, if you're really into sleep, you've probably read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Okay, so Why We Sleep. I put the title of the book in the chat. Why We Sleep. And he says at the end of the book, and it's like a thick book, and it's got some of the worst writing in it. I mean, I'm like, why are you writing this? And so he at the end of his 400-page book, he gives one piece of advice. If I just had to give you one piece of advice around sleep, that's what it would be. Go to bed at the same time every day. Get up at the same time every day. That's it. So boring, right? So boring, but the most effective piece of advice for sleep. And so what you need to do in order to facilitate that the best you can, and of course, there will be days when you do not go to bed at the same time. That's okay. Just try and get up as close as possible to your regular wake up time. Now, how do you facilitate getting to bed on time? Because I was once in this position where it's like, I want to go to bed at 11:30 tonight. You know, back when I was younger and I went to bed pretty late. I'm going to go to bed 11:30 tonight. And the next thing you know, it's 12:15 and it's like, man, I'm not even close to going to bed. All right. All right. You know, you get to bed around 12:30. And then the next day you wake up and you are so tired and so angry and you're like, and you want to hit snooze. And you're like, tonight I'm going to bed at like 9 o'clock. And sure enough, that night comes and it's 12:15 again. And you're like, oh, I'm not even ready to go to bed yet. Well, you're always going to be off. So we need to use what's called the reverse alarm. The reverse alarm is another alarm that we set on our phone that goes off an hour before bed. And as soon as that alarm goes off, you have to have the systems in place that allow you the discipline and the accountability and the commitment to shut off your phone, you know, to stop using social media, to stop using your laptop, to shut off the Netflix, to turn off the television, turn off all electronics. And I don't care if you say, yeah, but I got these like wicked awesome Swanee blue light blockers, you know, shout out to James Swanwick from Australia. You know, I got these Swanee blue light blockers. I don't need to turn my electronics off. Yeah, you do. Because that's when the emails come in that get you angry, or that's when you stumble across the political post on Facebook that gets you fired up, or that's when you hear like, oh yeah, I won't be able to come in tomorrow and do my 5 training sessions from one of your trainers, and you're like, and you're all fired up, right? So it's not just the blue light from the electronics, it's all the messages that you're going to get that are going to fire you up before you try and go to sleep. So you turn off all the electronics and you do what I call old school activities, right? You clean yourself up, you make your lunch for tomorrow, you read a book, you talk to your kids, you talk to your spouse, you have a bath, whatever it is. Just do those things, and the next thing you know, you'll fall asleep on time. So that's the first set of lines we put. Now, we're not going to put any work stuff on here. Now we're going to look at our cutoff time. It says cutoff time and phone bed. And I'll tell you a funny little story about a phone bed in a second. But your cutoff time is next. So right now you're saying to your partner, your spouse, your wife, your husband, whatever it is, and you're saying, yeah, I'm going to be done work at 6 o'clock. I'll be home and we'll have dinner at 6:30. And you're like 0 for 100 on keeping that promise. And, you know, like your spouse, your partner, they're pretty good about it. They seem pretty good about it, but this is death by 1,000 cuts. Okay, this is where the molehills build up into mountains, and all of a sudden you have an explosion. Right? You have a massive volcanic eruption. Maybe not this week, maybe not next month, but you know, after I know you guys are still in your winter time, but a couple of months from now, you're like, oh man, when's the sunshine ever going to come back? Well, maybe that's when the blow up happens because you're not sticking to your cutoff time, or you don't have a cutoff time. You're like, I'm just going to try and get home whenever, and it causes a lot of stress. So what you need to do is have a cutoff time ritual and accountability to it. And what I've realized recently, I didn't put this in any of my books yet, but when we say we're going to have a cutoff, or when we say we're not going to hit snooze, or when we say we're going to get up at a certain time, we must have significant consequences for not following through. Because it's very much like our clients who say, yeah, I'll go on that diet next month or next week, or I'll start coming back to the gym next month when things calm down. There's no immediate pain that is strong enough to overcome the pleasure from hitting the snooze or sticking to a bad diet, right? You know what I'm talking about. You know that client who's always saying, yeah, I'm going to go on a diet soon. And the significant consequences might not show up for 5 or 10 years. And then the doctor says, yeah, you need to either change in the next 6 weeks or you ain't going to be here for next year. You're not going to be here for your kid's graduation. And then they change. And it's the same with us. We're not sticking to our cutoff times. We're not, avoiding the snooze button because there's no significant consequence to not sticking to that. Until we say to a friend or we say to our people in our Facebook group that if you catch me online after 9 o'clock, I owe the first person who finds me liking or posting on Facebook after 9 o'clock p.m., I owe you $50. Oh boy. And it's not one time. It's like if I do that 5 days in a row, anybody who catches me, I owe $50, $450. That adds up pretty quick. I have clients who have given $500 to politicians they don't like for missing or for hitting snooze once or missing their wake up time once. You think that they have done it again? Nope. Significant consequences. So you must have significant consequences for not getting home on time. And when you put significant consequences in place, you will finally stick to those things. All right, so you set a cutoff time, 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, you go through this 3-step ritual that prepares you to dominate the next morning. And here's how it goes. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to get, like maybe you have a little journal like this, or maybe you have some paper. You're going to do a brain dump, okay? So you're just going to write all the things going through your head. Oh man, I got to meet with Gary. I got to talk to Dan. I got to prepare my presentation. I got to run these errands. I got my workout at 1. I got to go to the grocery store on the way home. And I probably got to put in some time. I know I'm going to go on social media. I got to be in my Facebook group, and I got to get that email out to our list. Wow, that's a lot. But I feel a lot better getting it all out into a brain dump. Now I take all those 18 things that I've written down and I put them in a priority to-do list. So that's step 2. Brain dump is step 1. Step 2 is a priority to-do list. Write this down. If you are doing your to-do list in the morning, you are already too late. Why? Because Steven Pink, in his book, When, the Scientifically Perfect Reason for Doing Everything at This Time, I forget the subtitle of it, but it's called When by Daniel Pink. He says we have the greatest willpower, discipline, and intention in the morning. The greatest willpower, discipline, and intention first thing in the morning. So if you wake up and you do your to-do list in the first 30 minutes of the day, you've wasted the 30 most disciplined minutes of the day figuring out what you're going to do. Instead of writing that sales copy, instead of doing the hard work of designing all the workouts for the next 6-week challenge, instead of preparing for the staff meeting, instead of this, instead of that. Now, I made my to-do list in the most productive and disciplined time of the day, and that is a big loss. So you do your to-do list the night before. And once you've done that, there's a third kind of magical step. And as a writer, I know this to be true. I know this is valuable. I know it works, and it should work for you too. And it's called process planning. So for me as a writer, I could write down my number 1 priority for tomorrow morning is to write chapter 2 of my next book. Okay, sounds great. No problem. I wake up, I go to my computer, I open up my Word document, and there's a blank screen. And every writer has writer's block. But if I do some process planning, and what process planning means is I put down some bullet points the night before, then I wake up the next day and I go to my computer and it's like, oh, there's 5 bullet points here. Oh, it's easy to write 300 words for each of the 5 bullet points compared to writing 1,500 words on a blank screen. So you can do that. If you have to do a PowerPoint for a group training session or a group nutrition session, or you have to put together some of the workouts, you can write just some little notes down. that allow you to wake up the next morning and hit the ground running. Plus, I'm a big believer in the power of the subconscious mind, that my subconscious mind actually does the work overnight for me so that when I wake up the next day, it's like written half of the article and the words just pour out of me. So that's the 3 steps. You do the brain dump, you do the priority to do list, and then you do the process planning. And the next thing you know, you wake up in the morning and you go into what I call this NUI work, non-important, non-urgent, important work, non-urgent, important work. So this is where, if you are familiar with Stephen Covey, he has quite a few books. He's passed away, but he had this thing called the 4 quadrants. President Eisenhower in America, he was president in the 1950s. He had something similar. And the 4 quadrants, the most important thing is that we spend our time in the urgent and important quadrant, but we don't spend any time in the non-urgent but important quadrant. Now, you don't want to spend any time in the non-urgent, non-important quadrant. And you often will spend time in the non-important but urgent quadrant. Like, I got to go and check the sports scores from last night. No, you don't. But we do. We do. I've been down that rabbit hole. You want to focus on non-urgent important work, which is writing the sales letter for the thing that you're going to promote next month. Now, that's important, but it's not urgent. The urgent important is where we get sucked into, right? Like, oh, the air conditioning is out at the gym. And again, as a gym owner, I know that you have to deal with that stuff. Or, you're like, I really want to get to my email. I'm pretty sure I have some important emails coming in. Well, yeah, you probably do. But maybe the email's been sitting there for 8 hours. It can sit there for another hour while you do non-urgent important work. Non-urgent important work. My friend Ian Stanley is a copywriter in America, and he has this great phrase. There's 3 types of money activities, and one of them is called money later, and another one is called money now, and another is called money maintenance. So money maintenance is like doing the training sessions that you've already sold before. You have to do them in order to, serve your end of the contract. If you spend all your time in money maintenance, you'll never get ahead. And then money now is like sending out the email right now to your list to get some more money in. But money later is where the magic happens. Money later is planning next month's 6-week challenge and writing such great sales copy that you get twice as many people in it. The money later is a non-urgent, important activity. And that's where you need to spend more time. Very much like Thomas Plummer said, it's the people who are patient now, who commit to it, who stick through this, and who think about the future. You're thinking about money later. You stick with this, you're going to be very successful. I have a client in America. He owns an Anytime Fitness. And Anytime Fitness did a horrible job of supporting their franchisee owners during the COVID shutdown. They actually stopped them from being able to bill. Their billing company shut them down, said, no, you can't bill people because you're not providing the service. Even though it would have been fair to provide an amazing digital service. So this guy's name is Chris. I was really worried for him. I was like, there's no way he's going to make it through. But sure enough, he went and got another billing provider and got his clients to sign up for digital training through another billing provider. And he survived the worst of it in his state in America, while 5 gyms around him closed down. And today he is signing up more clients than he can handle. He can't even handle the number of clients that are coming because there's no other gyms within a 10-mile radius. And so this is a lesson to me. Like, I'm never able to know who's going to make it and who's not, like who's going to be a millionaire and who's not. If I've tried to pick in the past, and people with, like, it seems like they have everything going for them, they don't. It's just like in my weight loss transformation contest that I used to run, I could never pick who the winner was going to be. It would always end up being like a single mom with 5 kids who had a meaningful incentive. And all the people who had trainers and had nutritionists and had all the time in the world, they would drop out because there was no reason why. So anyways, you got to make time for money later, non-urgent, important work. And that's what you do first thing in the morning, and it's planned out the night before. And then you reward yourself. You reward yourself with the self-care. I grew up on a farm, and when you grew up on a farm, the first thing you do when you wake up is you go out and feed the cows because they don't take a day off eating. And that stuck with me over the years, because now I see all these people, they wake up and they're like, oh, well, I read, Tim Ferriss does this, and Jocko Willink does this, and Joe Rogan does this, and, some famous person in Australia does this. And, I got this morning routine. It takes me an hour and a half, but it's a good morning routine. It's like, okay, again, you just have a perverse form of procrastination. You don't want to do the hard work. So you got a 90-minute morning routine. And then you go to the gym. And I said before, I was going to try and convince you not to work out first thing in the morning. Because if you work out first thing in the morning, when you have your greatest willpower, discipline, intention, you're not going to get around to writing the sales letters. And I know, like, man, but I love working out. Yeah, I know you love working out. So if you love working out, you will make time for it later in the day after you've done your hard work. So I get up and I go right to work first thing in the morning. And then I reward myself with meditation. Then I reward myself with a walk to the dog park. I reward myself with breakfast after I've done the work. And that's what I want you to consider as well. So now we've gone through there and we have built our business around our life, because we've really put a box around like how much time we can work. It's like all this stuff is here. Like I can only fit in work here. I can only fit in, I can't be the sole trainer in my gym anymore. There's no time in this system if I'm going to take care of myself, which then forces you to go and get trainers to come in and do the $20 an hour or $25 an hour training, so that you can step back and spend more time on money later activities, which makes you more money very soon. Very soon. Trust me, I know it's very scary, especially in these times, or if you're just starting something and you're like, I can't afford to bring on an assistant. I can't afford to bring on another trainer. I can't afford. And I know, here's the thing, is that you will just get caught in this loop of never ever being able to afford it. And you will never have the escape velocity to get off the treadmill, to get out of that vicious cycle. You will never break it. And you will forever be stuck there because you're not willing to make a big leap. And the big leap must be done where you go, you know what? Our belt's pretty tight right now, but I'm going to tighten the belt for another 4 weeks. And yes, I'm going to pay trainers more than I want. I'm going to get rid of all my training sessions. I just had a new client come in and he's doing some training sessions right now. He owns 2 gyms. His trainers are slow to come back. He's doing training sessions because he says, I got to do it to pay the bills and to pay myself. And I said, well, listen, you're not going to pay yourself for next month. I know you have enough money in the bank, and yeah, you're going to draw upon your savings, but you're not training anymore. The hard cutoff is this Friday for your last training session. All 3 gym owners, or all 3 gyms that I own, I do not allow my partners in those gyms, they're business partners with me, so they're 50% ownership. I do not allow them to do training sessions. Every time they say, yeah, I had to cover a training session this week, I said, no, you didn't. No, you have to take the pain of canceling the session, because you are not allowed as an owner to do training. If it's like, imagine this, imagine someone didn't show up at the Tesla factory. Would Elon go and work on the factory floor? Yeah, those rockets to the moon. Yeah, I got no time for that. I got to go and like put some wheels on a Tesla here. That's not how it works. That's not how it works for him, and that's not how it works for you. That's just not how it works here. And once you make that mindset shift, because like, no, I'm not a $40 an hour person. I'm a $100 an hour person. And anything that I can pay somebody to do that's under $100 an hour, I'm going to pay somebody to do it, even though it's super painful to me, even though it means we can't go out to the nice restaurant for date night. We have to go to Subway. You know what? Go to Subway, have date night at Subway. Still have date night. Don't cancel date night, but tighten the belt even harder. Delegate everything you should not be doing so that you can free up your time for the money later, the non-urgent important work that will make you financially free in 18 months from now. Take that pain now for the gain later. And that's the difference. That's the difference. I will reiterate what Thomas said. The difference between the people who will be wealthy in the fitness industry in a year and a half from now, from the people who will have closed their gyms, is short-term pain. Choosing short-term pain over short-term gain. Okay? Taking the easy way out, just, not becoming a great leader in these times. Like, the people who will survive will be the greatest leaders in the fitness industry. Because after we get through this, what could possibly happen that would be even a fraction of the difficulty that you are going through right now? Like, remember when you thought 2019 was a tough year? Yeah, I know, Emily. I know. The aliens are coming, and then World War III. I know. I shouldn't say that, but remember. Well, let's go backwards then. Let's go backwards. It's easier. So remember when you thought 2019 was tough? It was tough because you weren't the 2020 version of yourself. If you could take the 2020 version of yourself, Emily, and take it back to 2019, you would be like, wow, this is like a holiday, which means that I'm optimistic that things will get better eventually. I don't know when. Things will be bad for longer than we think, but things will eventually get better. And when they do, because you have committed yourself to short-term pain, you will have long-term gain. Same with your calendar, same with never hitting the snooze button. That's how you do it. All right. Day by day, making time to make your millions in the fitness industry. And it is possible to make that much money in the fitness industry. It is possible to become a millionaire in this industry that we love. And I can't wait to hear about you doing it. All right, Dan, that is it for me. I am happy to take questions.
Amazing to me. That was legendary.
I did leave something out. Emily just called me out on it. The phone bed.
Yeah.
So so the phone bed. This is for all of the parents with young kids. Dan's one of them. The phone bed came from one of my clients in America. He owns a CrossFit. I think he's still a CrossFit owner. I don't think he de-affiliated, but he's a CrossFit owner. And like most gym owners, you go from being super trainer, super owner, super entrepreneur, and you drive home and you walk in the door. Now you got to be super mom or super dad. And it's very difficult. A lot of people don't mentally make the transition, and they go home and they're on their phone, right? They're on their phone and they're not present with the kids. So what we did, and you can actually go to Amazon and buy a phone bed that charges your phone. But what this guy did, his name is Danny, and he went home and he and his 9-year-old made a little bed out of an egg carton, and they had a little blanket. And so every night he walks into his house and he goes, "Hey kids, it's time to put the phone in the phone bed." And they come over and they take the phone, they put it in the egg carton, they put the little blanket up, and now they go and he's fully present with them. And the thing is that he found is that they only wanted about half an hour of his time. And then they were off to do other things. Now, some nights they do some longer projects, but they only really wanted half an hour of daddy's time. And both the kids are under the age of 10. And then he realized, well, now, I still got some time before dinner. Maybe it's after dinner and the kids are doing their own thing. He could go back and actually do a little bit of work, focus, and then put it away again and have some more family time before they went to bed. And he would actually get more done this way because the time that he did spend on the phone was focused. And the time that he spent with his kids was much more cherished by the kids because it was focused. So Jim Rohn has a really great quote: "Wherever you are, be there. Wherever you are, be there." Just like you are here in the virtual mastermind, focused all day long, because you're going to get the most out of it when you do it that way. Belinda says she needs to do that with her 18-year-olds. Yeah. So that family movie night on Friday, I have a client of mine. He sold a business to PayPal for like $100 million. And so he's taking a bit of time off, but his kids are 12 and 13. And every Friday night, what they do is everybody puts their phone in a bucket and they have family movie night, because he knows he's got 12 or 18 months left before those kids want nothing to do with him on a Friday night. So putting the phones away is super valuable. I put my phone away. I need to put my phone away as soon as I'm done this, but I've told people publicly, and I think public accountability is key. So that's why if you share in your Facebook groups with your clients that you are like, I'm going on this nutrition program, or I'm doing this, or I'm, no longer working past this time, or whatever it is, and you get public accountability, you have a better chance of sticking to it. But for me, I turn my phone off every night at 6 p.m. Josh says, do you have suggestions for places to go to learn about improving sales content, writing skills? Absolutely. If you go to YouTube and you watch Neil Patel has some great stuff. And if you go to this website, Justin123, my friend Justin Goff has an application-only email newsletter. And if you watch how he writes his emails, that's really great. He's fantastic. And then Danielle says, we do homemade pizza. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no devices. Try going device free for a block of 6 hours in a row. It's very difficult because like everything is on your phone. Like how can I possibly get from point A to point B without my phone? I need Uber. But if you can go and work your way up to doing device free hours, you'll really, when you go back to having your phone, you'll have better control over your habits. And Shannon, so somebody asked, it's automate, delegate, and eliminate. So automate might mean you can use a software or something. Instead of you doing manual rebills, you can set them up on EFT or something, or there's just something that you can automate. Delegate means if you're making videos, I make videos on my phone and I send a video to a young man on my team who puts the titles and the subtitles on the pretty videos that go up on my Instagram, and he posts all the videos. So all I do is make the video. And I've automated the system through another person by delegating the work to them. And then eliminate, there's a lot of things in your life and in your business that you don't need to do. Like if you stop doing them, your business would not hurt. For example, in my business, I've done a lot of podcasts promoting my books, and they kind of got out of control. I was doing podcasts for everybody and saying yes to podcasts for people that had 50, 100, even 500 listeners is too small of a podcast for me. So I no longer do those, and I just stopped. And my business doesn't suffer because of it, but my time improves. So automate, delegate, and eliminate. Terry has no electronics, no TV during dinner time. That is awesome. I love the conversation about their day. There's a very, very famous entrepreneur. Her name is Sarah Blakely. And she credits a lot of her success to the conversations that they had around the dinner table, because her father, I think, was an entrepreneur. And they talked about failing and why it's not bad. And they talked about entrepreneurship. And now I believe she's the youngest self-made female billionaire in the world. So family, you never know what family dinner stuff will be. I'm curious about your reading habits after your bedtime routine. Do you read development type books or stay off that topic? Right now, I stay out of business books, Gary. Right now I'm reading this book, The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. I won't read business books, but I'll read stuff like this, maybe the 5 love languages, maybe the Tao Te Ching. I'll read stuff that is light, or like I will read like something like Shoe Dog, but I won't read like a Dan Kennedy marketing book or a Grant Cardone sales book. I won't read those things before bed. All right, my man, I will, Dan, I'll let you go. This is Neil Patel. I'll spell that for you. It's Neil Patel. He's a very famous copywriter and online marketer, and he has some good copywriting videos on YouTube that are free.
Fantastic, Craig. Phenomenal. Just love build your business around your life and not your life around your business. And here are the structures and systems so we can do exactly that. How can the guys stay connected to you, Craig? Because, I've just got so much you put. I don't think there's actually anyone better out there than putting out content and valuable content than yourself.
I spelled my name wrong on Instagram. So my Instagram is Real Craig Ballantyne with an E at the end. We have systemized, formulated, made a factory out of content creation, and we're able to get 30 days of content done in about 3 or 4 hours of filming. And I can just at the drop of the hat film a 3-minute video, one take, and away it goes. So that is something that if you want to see how we create our content really fast, I do put out videos on my Instagram. And then if anybody ever wants to email me, this is my actual real email address. I swear it is actually my email address. So you can email me at craig@godfather.com anytime. And if you want to grab the full book of what we talked about, perfectweekformula.com.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Epic, Craig. Thank you so much, brother, for sharing. Really appreciate you, your insights, your frameworks, and just your overall wisdom around getting more done in less time and really creating a life that we can really flourish and have freedoms in as entrepreneurs. So appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Have a great night, everyone, or a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. I'm going to be in your country in 2021, I'm sure.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
All right. Bye.